So, Richard, thank you so much for coming on this call. I'd love to ask you about your experience with the course, how you first discovered it, and what your intentions were going into it, and how was the experience for you overall?
Yeah, so let's start with how did I discover it? So I had been um, part of a bunch of Facebook groups on Neville Goddard. I'd actually picked up a Neville Goddard series. I think it was 5 or 6 books on Audible, and I was listening to them, and it's very samey. It's sort of he repeats a lot of the same thing over and over and over and over again. So I kind of got the point, and I was wondering if there was any such thing as an actual Neville Goddard lecture online. So I started just Googling Neville Goddard lectures, and a few podcasts came up, and I'd listened to a couple of them that just really didn't like resonate with me. So, and then I came across you, and the podcasts were you introducing God mode as then an actual Neville Goddard lecture, which I loved because hearing it from the horse's mouth is always a great thing. So from there, I'm like, well, unlock God mode. That sounds really cool. So I signed up and I'm super, super happy I did. Um, the way that you present things, your experience, your integration of things that you've learned in life, as well as the Neville and then the other writers that you include in, was giving me sort of a unique perspective. And the thing I think that also resonated with me is like the sequence. So you have the intention, and then you have the feeling that comes after it for each particular lesson. That gives me something practical to do. A lot of courses and books don't do that. So the fact that you leave, and then actually, you know who does do it? The master himself, Charles Hannell, at the end of every chapter, it's another lesson, another practical exercise. So I love that. That was something that gave me something to do, and I got the feeling of, success, or it all worked out.
Mhm.
So yeah, that's the is that the answer? So yeah.
What was your favorite part of the course? Were any insights or lessons stayed with you and resonated with you especially strong?
Yeah, a few actually, or quite a few. The self-love was huge for me because that was something that I had particularly struggled with. Um, Getting the feeling of loving oneself first, and as well. What that did for me was actually made me love other people. But I'm in love. It was like made me feel better about people around me, and I actually started. It's kind of an interesting thing. So I started radiating love, and people were more friendly. I mean, like people would smile at me, and I'm like, oh, that's odd. Nobody gets scowls around here, so that was really really nice. I particularly love, and this may have been in your podcast, but I love the mistakes that people make about just focusing on one person. That was some good stuff in there because I think that's quite common. So that was a good one. Love the intention one. I listened to that one quite a few times. That's a strong thing for me is intention and getting stuff done. And there was another one that came to mind. Phase two.
Mhm.
So that something I did learn in Neville was if you focus on the past and trying to fix the past, you're getting what you focus on. So that was a good change point for me. And then kind of moving forward from there.
Mhm.
Um, you know, yeah.
How has the community been for you? Because that's one of the perks of the course is everyone gets access to these mastermind calls where you get to meet me and the other members of the community. And I'm curious how that aspect of the course has been for you.
I think that's even more special. I mean, I can't even tell you. It's like where I live is not a particularly spiritual town. I mean, it's Charlotte, North Carolina. It's not a small town, but it's mostly bankers and people that have the same day-to-day life and not particularly they go to church and and you don't believe in Jesus and that's it, you're out. So you don't have these concepts and conversations. I had actually attended a spiritual venue and it wasn't kind of gelling with me. And that was just before you started the groups. And this is a highlight of my week. I mean, there's so many good ideas bouncing off. The people are becoming super good friends. We're having these like outside conversations as well as in the group just to kind of connect. And then the Sunday calls, I don't care how I feel when I come into it. Sometimes it's a little early and I'm like, but I always leave happy. Always. It's like such an uplifting group. It's very unique. I mean, I've been in lots of different things. And this is a very, very special group, I gotta tell you.
I agree. I agree. Just the quality of the people, including yourself, who have been showing up on these calls is just extraordinary.
Yeah. And the energy is just spot on.
Yes. Yeah. The vibes are on point.
Yeah. Yeah.
How would you describe the course to someone who's never taken it, maybe doesn't know like what the hell is unlock God mode? How would you describe it to a complete stranger?
It's a gradient scale of spiritual adventure. Um, you read a lot of books from a lot of different authors, and some of the authors offer one thing, some of them offer a couple of things. I think what you've done is you've accumulated a lot of information on a really good scale that's simplified. So I think most people can get this. If they're in this thought process to start with, they're going to understand what you're talking about. It's a great gradient.
Hmm.
Um, I'm looking for the next level, but I think this is good for like lots like that. So I wouldn't say beginner necessarily, but yes, sort of like somebody's on this path, right? So they got to really understand what you put together here.
Awesome. And what do you think has been the biggest change in your life or the biggest mental transformation since you took the course and have been in the community?
Well, I've become more positive. I've become more hopeful. I'm more loving, and I have a more of a calmness now. And a lot of that comes from the fact that I know if I come on a Sunday morning or whenever we do a call, somebody's going to be there with an answer,
Hmm.
or somebody's going to be there just to listen. You know, so
Yeah.
a sense of community, I think, is also really really big for me.
Yes. Yeah. What are you looking forward to in the next level?
Hmm. So it's kind of interesting. I think I've done throughout my life. I've done a lot of stuff, learned a lot of things. Um, the more I grow with this, the more I realize I don't know. So I'm looking forward to opening my mind to the next phase of learning, whatever that looks like. If it's shrooms, if it's just knowledge, I think it's going to be shrooms. But that's um, that wasn't that. I'm going to mention this because this is something that I never even possibly even considered. And after hearing the experiences of so many people, it's something now that's like forefront for me. I'm doing it.
Yeah, it's really funny because the course itself is not about psychedelics, but there's
Oh.
one lesson where I sort of mention it. And when I had my feedback call with you, you said, James, I love the course, but what is that lesson about psychedelics? And then it's so amazing to see that over the last couple of weeks and months in the community, I think you've learned so much more about it, where now your mind is open to the idea of going into those realms.
Yeah, I think there was a bit of a fear of the unknown. I mean, as a young lad, I never really did drugs. I did marijuana a few times, and it wasn't pleasant. So that sort of sat back of my consciousness. Didn't want to experience what I went through then, and I've been talking to a couple of people who had very, very strong assurances that that won't be the case. So as long as I set out properly and I've got a good sitter and my mindset's good going in, I think I'll be okay.
What would you say to someone who's read a lot of Neville and they say, well, why do I need a course? All of Neville's books are free online.
Um, they are, and it's funny. I mean, I'm in Facebook groups that where people who have supposedly read the books have not still grasped the concept. I think what you do is you put it into perspective. Neville does a really good job. Don't take away from him either, but I think you give um, you give a perspective that actually like is more modern, if that makes sense. It's it kind of like it helps ground it a little bit, if that's the right word.
Mhm. Mhm.
Yeah, I think you'll learn more. Is what I'm saying. I have. Because it's
Sure.
not just Neville you've got here. You've got other things that you kind of put in and life experiences that you add to.
Exactly. Yeah, I want to make it clear to people it's not really just a Neville course. It's a course of all the modalities I've ever learned in my life and all the tools that have really worked for me. And I've tried to synthesize it into the most efficient, practical way of applying these tools. And I think that comes across in the lessons.
Yeah, it does, and I think you do it. It's an art form actually. I mean, you've done it in such a way that I've done a lot of courses, James. I mean, I really have. I mean, I spent a lot of time in an organization that's all you did all the time was courses, and so I understand how courses go, and I understand how the learning process goes. And you know, you went a couple of times through this course. I think if you missed something, then you weren't paying attention because it's very well explained.
Mhm. Mhm. Any
Yeah.
final thoughts you want to share with any potential people interested in the course? Anything you'd like to impart to them or share your review of the course overall?
It's such value for money. It's so powerful. Just even, doing the course and being in this group, you should just do it. I mean, you won't regret it. I don't. I really don't. I think you just do it. Do it.
Love it. Thanks, brother.
Even the community on its own. I mean, if you can't get value out of the people that are in this community, then you're in the wrong place. This is I don't know if that's the right thing to say, but this is the right place to be if you want to grow and expand your mind and you're looking for something else. That's the thing. I think if you're looking for that something else in your life to grow, this is where you should be right now.
Oh, that's powerful.
Yeah.
Powerful. Thanks, Richard. Thank you.
You're welcome.